The main reason I like the Spite is it has a very low building time. 1 day, 16 hours naked. It's also a very important part of your Conqueror arsenal because it has 14,000 ballistic deflection, one of the highest in the game. Very decent corrosive deflection, and the highest of all radioactive deflection. That makes it immune to shockwaves, to any damage from launchers, even to the death weapon of the Retribution. So it makes it a great tank when you're hitting a base. As soon as you build Bloodthirst with the Spite by rimming the base or something like that, it also gains 6,000 explosive deflection, which is fairly decent. I mean, it doesn't make it immune to everything, but it's fairly decent. And gives a little bit penetrative deflection of 2,000. That's not enough to counter a whole bunch of Deadeye executioners, but if there are rhinos firing at you or something like that, that counters most of it. Not all of it, but most of it. So it's good to keep in mind. It's a very versatile tank spotter for vendettas or lead. And so we're going to see two different ways of building Spites. One of them as a tank, as a spotter, where it has more defensive capabilities. And the other one as purely a hammer, an attacking hull, right? All weapons, all damage. And that configuration should not be leading, but should be following the first configuration we'll discuss. So if this is going to be your lead ship, you gotta counter a few things. So first of all, you see 2 flanks 4 here, and this will counter missiles, right? So, or UAVs. If you're coming against an Alpha Behemoth, or if you're coming against some guard that has Mastodons or Rhinos at the back, or even another Spite, you need at least a couple flanks there to kill incoming missiles as much as you can. Then you see I put 3 Gale 2, and if you have weight challenges, it could be Gale 1, because remember, this ship has 100% handicap, so it's not getting the little explosive defense bonus of 5% from this one. It's not getting the 15% there. These are there exclusively to shoot down missiles and to shoot down Cataclysm and APOC mortars and mortars from Harlock Citadels and Zoe Revengers. So that's part of your defense. Because of it, of course, we have Speed System 5 here, that's given, but instead of Siege Battery, I'm using Frontline Countermeasure System. That will buff accuracy and range on your countermeasures and give you 50% turret defense. So in a defense ship, in a tank with countermeasures, that combo should be there, okay? The next thing you want, you see, just because I put Speed System 5 in here and mine is retrofitted level 15, I already gained 15% evade bonus. And evade is good. It's a good thing to have for a tank. Now, I want some stun resistance, some slow resistance, and more evade. So the natural candidate for that is Agility System 4, which is a limited component. And if you don't have it, you can go with Agility System 3, no problem. So now you see we have 56% evade. That plus the flanks should give you a good lifespan against even like a rain of missiles. You should survive for quite a long time. And now you have stun and slow resistance of 74%, which is good against glacial turrets and other cryo battery and other things the base can throw at you to slow you down. A couple other things that make the Spite a great spotter, a great lead ship. It has 50% field resistance, and so anything that throws a field, ice field, fire field, oil slick, it has 50% resistance. It also has an overload every 10 seconds. I mean, it takes 12,000 damage, and it will do a triple salvo. It will gain combat speed, and it gains reload. Usually penetrative reload, because we're going to put missiles on it, right? It has a random launch override, and that's why it's good for you to put missiles, because it only works with penetrating damage, okay? Whenever you see the little fireball going out of your spite towards the enemy, it has 100% accuracy and will do some damage, but that's not the most important part. It will reduce the reload of your enemy by 50%. So if you fire that at a guard ship in the base you're attacking, that particular ship will be firing 50% slower than usual. So let's put some missiles in here, and let's put something to extend the range of the missiles. Now, I've seen some people doing some funky things, and they actually work. I'm not criticizing, okay? Putting trident missiles on their spites, you know, because they work as countermeasure as well, and they are the only countermeasure that can shoot down rockets. Okay, they're not very accurate, but they kind of work. So it's actually a smart trick to pull. You can also see some people putting switchblades, which can work in case your two flanks 4 get overwhelmed. These guys will also fire as countermeasure, so that's also valid. I'm going to do the basics and just put some Scoria missiles here. They do very good damage against building, and they have built-in flak evasion. Okay, you need at least one of those, at least one, to make sure you're going to have the right range if you're spotting for vendettas or anything else with remote range. So here we go. I'm using 2 Scoria missiles for the damage. I'm using 2 switchblades just in case I need some additional missile defense. Okay. And I'm using the special that came out with the spite called Advanced Guidance System. This one gives you some extra penetrative accuracy, which only helps against the guards. 30% range as usual, and it gives you flak evade bonus of 30%. So if the defender has their own flanks to shoot down your missiles, this one makes a lot less likely because you get 30% from the special, 30% evade from the weapon, and 30% flak evade from the ship itself. It's already counting here from the special. So you get pretty much 90%. Out of every 10 missiles, no matter how many flanks your defender has, they're only going to be able to shoot down one of them. As with every Conqueror, you gotta remember the spite has a handicap of 100%. So you see I'm not using any specials here to do resistances because they will be ignored, they will not work. So for the final special, we have a few options. We can use something to give it a little bit more evade. We can use something to give more damage, speed. Let's take a look at the options we have. So we could use strike warheads if you're looking for both ship and building damage. We could use siege target if you're more concerned about killing level 8 turrets that take forever to die. That's a good call. We could also just go for additional evade, and this is a defensive ship. Remember, this is just a tank, so your goal is for it to survive as long as possible and spot for your mortar ships or the ships coming behind. So the primarily goal here is not to deal damage, it's to survive damage. So I'm going to go with evade upgrade for now, and now I have 65% evade. Okay, believe it or not, makes a big difference against launchers, missiles, torpedoes, anything that has accuracy, cannons in most cases. And that's it. I mean, with that setup, you can actually tank well. You have 75,000 armor embedded. You can hit submarines. You can retarget. You have maximum range of 98. And the beauty of it is you repair in 30 minutes. So even if that die, you don't really care much. Use that setup to rank. And now if you want to increase survivability against gargoyle trees and mortars and everything, after you have the ship ranked, you just go in and you can add warplating to reduce splash effect. Now warplating is going to add quite some repair. Okay, it's 30 minutes per plate. So remember, the base ship's 30 minutes. I put 1. Now we're talking about 1 hour to repair that. Still not bad. We're going to add another one here, and now we're talking an hour and a half. Okay, that's before any modifiers you have due to R&D or anything, but the bonus you're getting here is splash damage reduction of 20%. So if you fall within a splash zone and you were supposed to take 1,000 damage, now you're going to be taking 800, right? And after that reduction, you still have to subtract your deflection. So that can help you survive quite a lot longer in battle. Might be worth the extra repair time. Okay, now I'm overweight, so let me go down here, pick Warplate, choose and see if that fits. Okay, so with Shipyard 4, it's what I have. That just did the trick. So 2 flanks 2, 3 Gale 2, you can reduce that to Gale 1, to Hail, Storms, whatever you have. Warplating 3, 2 times, Warplating 2, a couple of Scoria for damage, and the Switchblades are lighter, or actually heavier, let me check. They're heavier, so I could actually go another Scoria and probably fit Warplating 3. A lot of evade, extra accuracy for your countermeasures, and range, so you can spot at maximum range for your Vendettas. And that's it. That's the configuration for a spotter, aka tank, aka countermeasure ship. So the guy that survives taking fire. So now here's a complete makeover, and this is what a purely offensive ship would look like. So you see no countermeasures. It's all Scoria Missile. Okay, it does a lot of damage. Flak evasion, good reload of 9. I mean, you have a lot of reload bonuses here, 100%, if you use the right specials. Got some extra accuracy from the specials I've selected. So in this case, we use Siege Battery for turret defense and 74% extra building damage, which stacks with siege targeting. And now you get 404% extra building damage, and that's on top of 5,400. So each missile, you get that times 4, and each missile will be doing 20,000 damage, right, in a single shot, and that's times 9 missiles. So you will be doing 180,000 from one single ship against buildings per volley. To buff that a little bit more, the basic penetrating damage is up by 80%. That's from the ship and from the special selection. So I selected interception system. Gives me 45% more base penetrating damage against ships and buildings. And it also gives you extra speed of 20%. If that's a problem, if you don't want the extra speed, I personally like it. Another very good choice here would be Strike Warheads. It actually gives you 56% damage. Works even better, but you don't get the speed bonus. Okay? You could go armorless. A lot of people go without armor, so if you make a mistake, if you die, it's just 30-minute repair. Okay, but I chose to leave it there. You could also use evade armor, so some people just go and pick D2E, go light on the armor. Each one of these plates adds only 10 minutes, so if you put 3 of them, your ship still repairs in 1 hour, pretty fast. Okay, and you have 37% evade. If these guys have to tank some fire, that helps. That makes a big difference. Okay, my favorite crews with those ships are Sea Serpents, if you need more evade, Wolfpack, or Deadeye Destroyers from the more common crews. You can also use Wrecking Crew and Creeping Death for extra building damage. 3-4 ships like this one, if you want to have a fleet of Spites. I have 3 of them, but I mix and match usually with Vendettas or Furies because they have different resistances. Malice is also a good one to mix and match with Spites. But there you go. Here are some choices. You could go again Warplate 3 and have a longer repair time. You could go D2E for a shorter repair time but more evade, or you could go no armor. Okay, the rest of the specials I'm pretty set on this configuration. Personally, I do not use Strike Warheads. I use Interception System for the extra speed bonus. I like it. That's it for today. I hope that was helpful. Take care, everyone.